Prawn lures mean absolutely dick all to everybody in Victoria.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Deep Drop for another episode straight off the back of AFTA 2023. I'm Luke McCredden and with me Adam Ring. Ads. What a week. What a week.
What a week. Yeah, it's a big week on the retail sector of the fishing industry's calendar as we all head up to the Gold Coast for the AFTA Industry Trade Show. Basically, that just means all the wholesalers get together and present their new gear for the upcoming season. And, Luke, we get to catch up with everyone in the industry and hit the piss for a couple of nights.
It is a pretty solid few days of networking, Adam, is what my professional take on it. But yeah, there's a fair few ales dropped, and look, it's good. I love it. I love it every year. It's always good, and obviously, you know, you and I get to catch up and talk a bit of rubbish, which we do every week anyway. Actually,
yeah, that's it.
And it's probably no surprise that I'm sounding a little bit worse for wear a few days after the event. But mate, it was good. It was, and we spoke last week on the show about we might do a bit of a wrap up of the trade show, and it is very much that. There is a public day on the tail end of the whole trade show, which you were still a part of. I disappeared. I smoke bombed out of there. But
well played, sir. In fairness, I only did half a day on the public day. I've had a plane to catch.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I did too, and it got cancelled, and that was a whole other story. Fucking hell, airports, really. But it was very much, it is a trade event, so it's kind of. I thought tonight maybe we can give a little insight into what goes down, how it all works, and then any sort of, I suppose, things that caught your eye from the event. Ads, obviously you were fairly well stationed in the one spot, and it's fair to say that where you were stationed and who you were representing and your brand itself, Ads, was probably the biggest hype of the whole event as far as new release.
Yeah, we had a good year this year, Luke. Now, this is the second year of AFTA that I have been on the wholesale side, and for everyone listening that doesn't know, I do work for Rapala on a full-time basis as a sales representative for Victoria. So I was on and working on the Rapala stand for the entirety of the trade show, and I must admit, Luke, it was exciting. It was a great trade show for us, a really big new release, which we'll get into in a second. But you know what? There's just a little bit of me that still misses walking around and seeing what everybody else is doing, because we're all tackle junkies at heart.
Yeah.
I don't care what brand it is. I love seeing the new gear.
It's hard to be completely loyal to what you're there to do, isn't it? Because you walk around and well, I know you and I would, and I certainly do, get very easily distracted with a new something. Ooh, what's that? I need to go check that out. But which is why it is exciting. But again, and we might as well kick off with obviously the new that was very much drawing everyone onto the Rapala stand over the course of the few days. Ads, talk us through it and what it is, and yeah, I suppose what captured. Well, and there was an award one in there as well, so you can even touch on that. But it was it was a pretty good hype, and fair to say it delivered on those few days.
Yeah, well, it was an exciting project for Rapala. So we had a worldwide release of Rapala Crush City Customs soft plastics. Now, it's the first time that Rapala have put their name to a soft plastic, so it was a big deal. And why it was such a special thing for us in Australia at Rapala is we got to design something. So Mick Horn, who does a lot of our design work up in Queensland at Rapala head office, it was his project to design a group of tails and colours specifically for the Australian market that would hold a Rapala badge. So it was a first for all of us.
And just to jump in and break that down, I suppose for people playing along at home, the reason that is a big thing is when you think of, let's call probably the 4 or 5 of the key brands here in Australia, Rapala included, are global companies. So very much dictated to the global market as far as what comes in and what is new We saw a new reel from Shimano, for example, which obviously was launched at ICAST in the States a few weeks back, and that's kind of the way it works. And there's obviously elements of having our own, sort of put our own fingerprints on certain things, but this one was very much developed and designed here, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's right. And Crush City was a worldwide release for Rapala. Basically, each of the three main regions, they got to design their own. So the American market designed their own plastics, vastly different to what you'll see in Australia. And then the Asian European market, they had their own. And then we were able to design our own, which is pretty special because we are such a tiny market. When you think worldwide fishing, especially for these worldwide companies, Australia's nothing. No. It is literally a tiny percentage of what makes up of, say, worldwide sales for these companies. So it was a chance for us to show them what we can do. Mick did an incredible job. And that's it paid off when we launched the soft plastics. The way they were received, the story was great as far as they're not just another plastic. These were designed to do specific things for specific conditions and fish in Australia. And there was a whole process. So this was a near 2-year process for Rapala to design the plastics from start to finish. And it all culminated in a really successful release at AFTA on the weekend. And that's going to be a really exciting one moving forward for us.
Yeah, we won't get bogged down in all the details, I suppose, of every SKU, but there's some obviously some great designs which suit our market, or Australian market, but and colourways as well. But probably jump on Rapala Australia, I think, is the Instagram handle.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, we had a big online release, so you'll be able to jump onto the Rapala Australia socials and see everything that we've got to do with Crush City, because we've gone pretty hard with it.
And just a sneaky little video from our very own Adam Ring in there as well. I just saw it today. I missed it at the time, but I saw it today. Not talking about the plastics, actually.
No. We do more than just plastics. As excited I was about plastics, I was actually talking about
metal casting
Williamson metal slugs. So you've got to cover all bases, Luke.
What's the real important products? Plastics, some new hard bodies. Yeah, let's just give Adam the metal slugs.
Yeah, let's have a look at the. We'll scrape the shit bin on the new releases, and we'll get ads to talk about them. It was great.
Hey, it's all important, mate. You did a great job. You did a great job.
It's all good.
Nah, very good. But yeah, go check them out. It's really cool. Look, I think, and to your point, I think off air, we're chatting a bit about some of the new and what did we see, and it didn't occur to me that you really didn't get around much. You were very much focused on the job at hand. I was the one sort of just stuffing around in the outer, checking out some of the gear. But
well, this would be interesting, Luke, and I'll kick off with the questions here, because you and I haven't discussed this part of the trade show, but we hear about bits and pieces happening from our stand, and it seemed to me that the theme of this year's trade show, which there's one every year, there just seems to be a push towards a certain style of product or a certain thing, and this year it seemed to be prawn lures and plastics.
Yeah.
Now, you and I have been very vocal on this program about how prawn lures mean absolutely dick all to everybody in Victoria. But they are one of the most popular and highest selling models Australia-wide. And it seemed that everybody had a new prawn lure. Would I be on the money?
I reckon that's pretty accurate. It's it made me laugh a few times actually at the show because of that exact reason. We've commented on this show several times, and there was a whole topic in an episode about what are we doing wrong down here because we're not getting off on the prawn lure situation. But you know what's funny? Even as a Victorian, and I was with several Victorians at the time, when we were looking at some of these new prawn lures, we were like, oh, yeah, no, that's good. Oh, yeah, fuck, that'll work. Are we ever going to use them? No. But we will. Of course we will. It's just not, for some reason, it's not. Do you know what it is? I just don't think it's the go-to, So there's probably, it might be sort of third choice or second, but third or fourth choice maybe sometimes.
If there's ever going to be a point in history where prawn lures are going to make a bit of a push in Victoria, it's going to be now, because not only did Rapala have their own in Crush City, which we won an award for, just saying. There were some incredible designs of prawn lures, and the good thing, the exciting thing for the industry is every single one of them was vastly different.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's exciting.
Yep. And there was some hards, like there was some. It wasn't all just soft body too. There was some interesting sort of designs with there was some hybrid soft and hard.
Yep.
There was some hards. There was yours where the one you guys had the tank set up with water, and the legs on the prawn soft plastics, unbelievable. For a minute I thought it was real, but and then there was prawns being consumed by the kilo over at the Wilson. Wilson household, we went for dinner one night. Jesus, those boys put away some food. Let me tell you, seafood, prawns by the kilo. But no, no, you're right. So it's interesting, and there was a bit of a theme, I guess. It wasn't for me. It was an interesting one. We're actually talking about every few years. There's like something that's a real like smashes you in the face, like innovative, just brand new, out of the box type thing that no one really thought of. Where I probably hasn't been that in the last couple of years per se, but certainly the hype with the new range from Rapala was probably the thing that stood out for me. But then I reckon one of the other things was just, and I've said this a couple of times to people, that there was the expansion of ranges that I really enjoyed, because what it does, what it makes you realise is that these wholesalers and the brands, and whether they're global or local companies, are very much listening to what the public are asking for. So, for example, it might just be an expansion of colorways, or there might just be a size added on because it's just been missing, And yeah, that was the thing for me that I thought, all right, they're just filling some holes here, which is really, really cool to see as well. Because at the end of the day, like some of these, especially the brands that are very much lure focused, how many lures is too many lures? Like when it comes to what they're developing or what they're bringing in. So. But I didn't. Yeah, I got the feel that they're just tightening up and expanding where needed, and I think it was cool. It was good to see.
And I think that's a clear indication of how good recreational fishing and fishing in general is in Australia. We're at a point now where we're ready to really dive into our own fisheries, and we are. All the companies are designing things. Just for us, like you're saying, there's a missing size, and all that is like, hey, what do you reckon? This is a hot species at the moment.
Yeah, and
is there a size of lure that we can introduce here that can still be sold on the worldwide market for those big companies?
Yeah,
but becomes very relevant for Australia.
Well, I think the relevancy thing is such a good point, and that when we talk about themes, the only other theme takeaway for me was that the honing in on filling in some gaps and what was required. The theme for me was natives, and when I spent some time on the Viva stand, who obviously bring in mega bass, and there is a conscious effort that they're just constantly upgrading, updating, and improving their cod lures. It's just out of control some of the stuff they're bringing in now, and the sizes of some of that stuff. Another one, Jackal, just going and checking out some of their new gear, and again, it's not necessarily bringing in hundreds and hundreds of new products, but it's just tweaks and just another add-on size and another little few colours that obviously are in demand. And it's like, they're the ones, and even Bassman, like old mate from Bassman there, who hand makes all that stuff, which is just incredible, is again hearing some potential gaps in the market, and he's adding some new bits and pieces in, and you go, that's pretty clever.
But even on the smaller scale, there was an Australian lure manufacturer down there that released a series of chin weights. Now, that doesn't sound exciting at all, but it's actually really important, and it's really relevant because they've designed these chin weights for everything from the smallest swim bait you can think of. Think of a 70mm swim bait for bass and perch and yellow belly. They designed a range of chin weights, everything from these 1/2 and 1 ounce enormous things for these big swim baits down to these tiny ones.
Yeah.
That just isn't available anywhere else in the world. So it really is a good time for finding those little avenues, and where it just keeps everybody excited, but also making fishing a lot easier.
Well, that chin weight thing is funny. You say it's not exciting and whatever. I reckon I heard those spoke about more than anything else.
Yeah.
At one point in time, there was hype around it, because it's just, as you say, it's not always the big, bright and shiny.
It was Barumba lures, or Barumba. I'm pretty sure. I apologise if I've got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was those.
Yep.
But
I think
pretty
that's
cool.
Yeah. So no, it's awesome. talking about innovation and just honing in on the fishery and that. It's always good to see Bone. I don't know if you met Bone.
No, I've never met him. Apparently, he's a rock star and a half.
So he's an absolute dude for starters. What an absolute superstar. So obviously,
I mean, his name's Bone. Like,
Wilson bring in his brand, and his range of rods are fucking unbelievable. To be fair, like they really are. And his lures that he's sort of bringing in and designing and whatever now are really cool too. But yeah, no, he is overseas across Asia a proper rock star, like as in A-list celebrity.
Isn't that's so nuts to think about?
And then he's sitting on the Gold Coast drinking 4Xs with Cord from Wilson.
Yeah.
No, but he's a lovely guy, really lovely guy, and a great team. And spent a bit of time with those guys, and yeah, it's cool to see the passion. It's just talk about die hard, like those. Yeah, it's legit. Cool to see, really good to see. Couple other observations from me, Ads. I always love to see the tonic versus spotters punch on that happens every year. Let's be clear, not a physical punch on, but it's always fun. Always, trying to one up each other, and you know what? They're actually both producing some really fucking good sunglasses at the moment.
Two Aussie brands of sunglasses leading the way in that market. It's big time.
And pretty much is it fair to say this? I'm not. This isn't factual. I'm just bringing it up because I find it a funny observation that the gala award night that happens, the gala dinner and the after awards that happens every sort of the last night of every trade show. There's different categories for different awards. As you said, you guys won the best soft lure. I feel like when it's the best, is it best sunglasses or what's the category? I don't even know what the category is now, or is it just fishing eyewear or something? Yeah. It's one of the two every year, and I feel like they just swap it out every year
just to keep it interesting,
just to keep everyone happy. No, look, and that, like I said, that's not fact. It's a funny observation. They're both great people, make great product, that's for sure. Actually, on the AFTA Awards, the gala dinner, I do want to shout out because I feel like he's put in some decent efforts over the years. That every year that someone's inducted into the Hall of Fame, so obviously it'll be you at some stage, Ads. I hope you're preparing a speech.
Doubt it.
But Bill Klassen was inducted into the AFTA Hall of Fame this year, which I thought, like he's 175 years old for starters, so fair effort. No, but I think what people don't understand, and it was a really good presentation on the night, and I think Trav Dowling had a recording. He wasn't there on the night, but there was a recording of some of the things that he's done, and like obviously from the outside, or even the far outside looking in, he's got the TV show which he's done for quite a while. But then a bit more internal, he's got obviously AFN is a fairly large wholesaler as well of a lot of all sorts of weird and wonderful
business.
things.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's been a staple, and even something as straightforward as the AFN maps. I mean, it was just a staple for every tackle store.
And still is. Yeah,
absolutely. There was the DVD series over the years as well, which were huge. But I think what a lot of people sort of don't realise is how much he's done behind the scenes as far as from a fisheries point of view.
Yeah, I was actually blown away by that too. And I know Bill, but I wouldn't say I know him exceptionally well. I was listening to Trav rattle off all these things he's done. You're like, this dude's legit. We knew he was anyway. He's been in the industry forever and done some incredible things. But you see what happens behind the scenes. And to me, those people are so special. The ones that you don't hear about doing it all the time. They're literally doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
The passion for recreational fishing. Yes, they've got an interest on the wholesale side, but if that fishery's not strong and we all struggle because we're all in that industry.
Yeah.
But to hear the time that he's put into some of the projects that the VFA have handled over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Was incredible. I had no idea.
And balls deep in some of that stuff too, Bill. And probably doesn't even really ask for praise for that either. He just kind of does it because that's his passion. And as you say, it kind of snowball effects into benefiting everything else. But even from a tackle point of view, Bill, and I don't know about the last couple of years, but for as long as I think I've known him, has been at ICAST in the States every year. Every single year. eyeballing everything, getting a bit of a grasp on how the global sort of scene is tracking, and then obviously he picks up his brands or his product that he brings in himself as well. But yeah, he's across it, Bill. I think it was awesome. It was actually probably one that flew under the radar a bit. You sort of go, oh yeah, like absolutely, this guy deserves to be there. So
yeah, that's right.
And I know speaking to him later on in the night, he was completely shocked, was not expecting it at all. So he
had the greatest acceptance speech of all time.
It was the best.
It was just
the best.
It was short. It was to the point. It was sweet, and he basically went, "Didn't expect this. Thanks. I'm fucking out."
That was pretty much it. There was a huge presentation for him, which obviously absolutely justified and well deserved, and the standing ovation and big wrap up, and it was fantastic. And then they sort of threw to him, and you're right, he kind of walked up to the mic sheepishly and just went, "Wow,
just didn't expect this.
Didn't expect that. Thank you very much." That was it.
Which that's pretty cool because Bill's a media man.
Yeah.
So he's not shy.
But do you think about Bill, and I was thinking about this later in that night too, and that it was based on that speech or that, but I've never thought of Bill as someone who tries to self-promote heavily. Like,
no.
He promotes his businesses and his brand
yep.
and what he's about, but I've never thought of him as someone who's just trying to flog themselves to be the best in the world. You know what I mean? Like he's
that's right.
Doesn't come
Humble.
across like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was good. So good on you, Bill. There's some always stories that come out of that night that probably shouldn't go to air, but I didn't witness too many. I think Hardy was there, Andrew Hart, our good friend Andrew Hart from Hook, Line and Sinker, and was probing him to try and get a few stories. He was on his way to a fairly large night, it's fair to say.
I'm pretty sure he was most of the way there the last time I saw him, and good on him.
It's fair to say that he took full advantage of the free beverages throughout the night. He doesn't let any go to waste. He wouldn't have been the only
one. He would not have been the only one.
No, absolutely not. Usually there's a fair commute of people from that venue over to the road to the casino.
The Cas, yeah.
Did you make it over there? Where'd you go?
No, I didn't.
We got lost.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I very much behaved myself.
Well, you had a function after that, didn't you?
Yeah, we had an Airbnb for the Rapala crew, and we were more than happy because for us too, we see each other twice a year.
Yep.
We have a sales conference at the start of the year, and we have AFTA at this time of year, so it gives us a chance to all catch up and even just socialise ourselves. And that was great. I mean, it's a bloody good crew, and we wish we could spend more time, but we got a job to do. So when we can all catch up, we make the most of it.
And the Dazzler signed off. This might not mean anything to anyone listening, but anyone out there who has witnessed the little bald man from Rapala getting around the traps in Victoria over the last 120 years, that is Daryl Hansford, who's retiring.
Yep. And he has officially... Well, actually, no, he hasn't officially retired. He's still got one more trade show that he'll come and do with me up in Albury.
Sucker.
And he come down for a goodbye tour of AFTA and that. So, quick history on Daryl. His entire working life has been in the fishing industry.
No shit.
Yep.
I knew he'd been in it.
So for a few companies over the years, but his entire working life has been in the industry, known as one of the gentlemen of the trade.
Oh, mate.
You cannot talk to anyone that has a bad word to say about Daryl. He's a true superstar of a human. Has done unbelievable things on the sales side for this industry. And he come down, and we had a little bit of a thing for him amongst the Rapala crew one of the nights, which was really cool. And then the poor bastard got home and got COVID.
Shit. Well, hand on heart, he was I remember way back when I started, probably started working for you or with you in the tackle store ads. He was just straight away, just an absolute gentleman. He was just so nice and welcoming and encouraging.
Made you feel comfortable.
And still is to this day. Although the sign off, and I caught up with him a lot over those few days after, which was awesome actually, really good. Haven't really spoken to him much the last couple of years, so that was great. His sign off, the last I saw of him on the night of the gala dinner as he was leaving, He just walked past and whacked me on the nuts and said,
Yeah.
"See you later." And that's his sign off. That's his sign off from AFTA. That's his sign off from the industry. Oh, it got me good too, the bastard. Nah, but
he's another one that had an all-time sort of acceptance speech. You know, Tim Morgan, who's our boss, he had a few nice words to say for Darryl, and we presented him with a giant Rapala lure that was all signed by us and a few other bits and pieces, and Darryl took all that and he went, "Yep, thanks." And that was it. Man, a few words, but he's a superstar and a genuine gentleman of the industry and has been forever.
Yeah, he did say, we had a big night for me the other night. They put on a night. I said, that would have been a big one. He goes, I was in bed by 9:30. It's like his own birthday party. You just leave early. Anyway, good on you, Darryl. So yeah, I mean that's a bit of a wrap up. It's hard to sort of really sort of grasp it all in one sort of conversation. But as we said last week, we did want to have a bit of a wrap up of AFTA for anyone listening and anyone interested. But I guess the takeaway from everyone listening that is just like you and I, Ads, who just love fishing and love fishing gear, is there's some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, there is.
You'll see some cool stuff coming as of basically now. Really, it'll start trickling into stores across the country. Whether it's new reels you're into, rods, lures and soft baits like Rapala brought out, or it's just bits and pieces of even tools and terminal tackle. There's some good stuff. So it's certainly not dropping off the the new and the exciting. So it's good.
Full steam ahead.
Absolutely, it's going to be good. So one of the other things I suppose we did, Ads, was caught up with a lot of people. Well, as I said, it's a good networking event after. We saw last week on the show, we had Al McGlash, and we got some really good feedback about that. And thank you everyone who got in touch and shot a message through and gave us their thoughts. I think they found it really interesting. Al probably opened up a little bit differently than he normally has. We weren't just talking about fishing. In fact, we didn't really talk about fishing as such at all. It was all around the media stuff and obviously there was a lot of environmental and political sort of chat in there as well. So it was actually, a lot of feedback was around that. It was a different sort of conversation that I really got a lot out of. So that was cool. So while we were sort of schmoozing, Ads, there's quite a few people in the industry that we bumped into and said, "Hey, you need to come on the Deep Drop."
Yeah, this is where it's interesting. And off the back of what we did with Al the other week, Luke, there is so many interesting people in this industry, and why not? We have access to these people. We've known them for plenty of years. There's those that you'll get some direct fishing knowledge out of. There's others that will give you a little peek behind the curtain and what happens behind the scenes. And then those that just have some funky ideas that can talk shit like us.
We should get Bill on. That's what we should do. We'll get Bill on. But you're right, absolutely. There's plenty of interesting people. Plenty of people who aren't interesting either. And fair to say, they're not going to be on the podcast.
It would be pretty funny.
And now I'm going to list those people.
No, it would be an entertaining exercise, Luke, to see if we could polish a turd for an exercise for an episode.
Some of them just can't be polished, my friend. But I tell you what, there is, and on that too, it's probably not a bad one. As I said, we do get a lot of feedback. If there's someone that you know in the industry or you know of and you'd like to hear a bit more about them, when I say industry, it could be the tackle industry, it could be the media side of things. Set us a challenge. No challenge. Like, even if it's someone that you think these guys won't get this guy on their podcast, you know what I'm like with challenges, Ads.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bringing Carpathon 24 to life. Like, that's where I'm at. But there's plenty of local homegrown heroes here who I cannot wait to have on the show. We're going to have lots of fun. There's a couple that are lined up already. We're just locking in dates, and I think there'll be lots of fun. But watch this space. We're going to have loads of fun, and any feedback welcome. So if there's any other little tidbits that you've heard tonight as well that about AFTA, for example, that you'd like to know more about, we can certainly point you in the right direction. Like if it's just something about getting in touch with some of these companies or knowing more about these brands, all of them should have social accounts that you can learn from and websites, but more than happy to help steer you in the right direction if you want to find out some more info.
Yep, it's a good event. It'd be nice if they did one in Melbourne for the open day, the public day's sake.
Yeah, I think the public day would be huge in Melbourne. I think, again, this might have been one of the first ever episodes we did. We spoke about that, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. Well, they had between 3,500 and 4,000 public registered for the public day on the Saturday, so the final day of the AFTA trade show. That's a shit stack of people.
That's a lot. Yeah, I reckon they'd get that here easily. When I say here, Melbourne. But anyway, good times. All right, well, let's sign off. I need to go and rest up for a couple of days before next week's episode.
Got to recover.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It wasn't even that bad either. I'm just getting soft in my old age, I think. But, anyway, good work. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, everyone out there, for tuning in. The Deep Drop. Tell your friends about it. Send the Spotify link and Instagram. Let's get everyone involved. We're having loads of fun and getting loads of interaction. And there is a bit more to update in the coming weeks about the next live show, Adam.
Yes, live show. So we're working on that. We're working on guests. Keep sending your questions through because we haven't forgotten about talking shit about random stuff in the fishing game. That will 100% will carry on doing. Basically, just tell us what you want to hear and we'll dribble on about it.
We'll go for it. Let's do it. All right. Thanks, everyone.